Hello, and welcome to the first installment of my Fallout New Vegas Legion run. My name is Courier Jackalope, and this time around, our courier is going to be a melee-based fighter with a Wild Wasteland perk, just to keep things extra interesting. Normally, I prefer to play as a charismatic gunslinger and take the yes man path. However, I have been coming across a lot of Legion hate, and while that can be blamed on NCR propaganda, it is a bummer just to see how many people will refuse to play the Legion, even just for the sake of the story. And despite how much of their content was cut, they're still simply pretty dang cool. Although I will admit I'm a bit of an ancient Rome fanatic. Also, let's be real, you never needed an excuse to replay New Vegas. Some of you may know that I actually started to do a live stream of this playthrough on a different platform, but after trying it and trying to give it some time, I really couldn't get into the whole layout of it, and I'm old, so there's that. The live stream of that character, Ren, will continue exclusively on YouTube from now on, but for the sake of my own sanity and to keep things better organized, this character for the walkthrough will have a different name. Lastly, I'll leave a list of my mods down below in the description box, since this game is over 10 years old and is infamous for crashing. With all that out of the way, let's start our story and give Caesar the Mojave.
War never changes. When atomic fire consumed the Earth, those who survived did so in great underground vaults. When they opened, their inhabitants set out across the ruins of the old world to build new societies, establishing villages, forming tribes. As decades passed, what had been the American Southwest united beneath the flag of the new California Republic, dedicated to old world values of democracy and the rule of law. As the Republic grew, so did its needs. Scouts spread east, seeking territory and wealth in the dry and merciless expanse of the Mojave Desert. They returned with tales of a city untouched by the warheads that had scorched the rest of the world, and a great wall spanning the Colorado River. The NCR mobilized its army and sent it east to occupy Hoover Dam and restore it to working condition. But across the Colorado, another society had arisen under a different flag. A vast army of slaves forged from the conquest of 86 tribes, Caesar's Legion. 4 years have passed since the Republic held the dam, just barely, against the Legion's onslaught. The Legion did not retreat. Across the river, it gathers strength. Campfires burn, training drums beat. Through it all, the New Vegas Strip has stayed open for business, under the control of its mysterious overseer, Mr. House. and his army of rehabilitated tribals and police robots. You are a courier, hired by the Mojave Express to deliver a package to the New Vegas Strip. What seemed like a simple delivery job has taken a turn for the worse.
You got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
No matter how many times I have seen that opening, I still get goosebumps every time. And what we have here loading is just the courier's cache. Back in the day when this game was first released, this was a little bonus for pre-ordering.
You're awake. How about that? Whoa, easy there, easy. You've been out cold a couple of days now. Why don't you just relax a second? Get your bearings. Let's see what the damage is. How about your name? Can you tell me your name?
Okay, so I mentioned before that our courier is going to be melee based. So it's safe to say we're going to be using a Ripper, which is a chainsaw based weapon at one point. And there is no one cooler than Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. That's not even something up for debate. So for a first name, we are going to go with Ash. And because our courier is going to be female, it works just fine. For a last name, I'm going to go with Malkav, because Malkavians are one of my favorite clans from Vampire the Masquerade, and they're known for being inflicted with different forms of insanity. And that works well here because we're going to have the Wild Wasteland perk and see some weird stuff. So here we have Ash Malkav. Kind of sounds a little 50s Russian noir.
I can't say it's what I'd have picked for you, but if that's your name, that's your name. I'm Doc Mitchell. Welcome to Good Springs. Now, I hope you don't mind, but I had to go rooting around there in your noggin to pull all the bits of lead out. I take pride in my needlework, but you'd better tell me if I left anything out of place. How'd I do?
So I do love the idea that Doc Mitchell is just sitting there with a nice placid little smile on his face as we not only change gender, but many aspects about our appearance as well. So I'm not going to make too many changes here. I really think she looks just fine. But there are a couple of things. So I am going to put some eyeliner on her, as well as some eyebrows, because this was made in 2010, late 2000s. And back then, the popular thing to do was draw your eyebrows on with a Sharpie. And I am neither admitting nor denying that there are a couple of photos of me back then with that same problem. So with her eyes, I'm going to make them hazel. Despite me being green-eyed myself, I just think they are so pretty. Okay, as for hair, we won't go too crazy, even if I am a fan of unnatural colors, because minor spoiler alert, we do find out that the Legion likes to keep it simple to the point that if someone has a hairstyle that requires a lot of pomp and attention, it's a pretty good sign that they are not in the Legion. So we'll just go for a nice chocolatey brown. There we go. She's lovely.
Well, I got most of it right anyway. Stuff that mattered. Okay. No sense keeping you in bed anymore. Let's see if we can get you on your feet. Good. Why don't you walk down to the end of the room? Over by that vigor tester machine there. Take it slow now. It ain't a race. Ooh, looking good so far. Go ahead and give the vigor tester a try. We'll learn right quick if you got back all your faculties.
So this is where we're going to pick our special. That's strength, perception, endurance, intelligence, agility, and luck. So this is in no way set in stone. Things like armor, food, chems are going to end up changing it throughout the game. So our strength is going to be right up there along with our endurance. And Ash is going to be built like a brick outhouse, essentially. I'm actually going to go all the way to the back and just kind of sort it out from there. Okay, so we want a higher endurance than that for sure. And I'm going to take it off of our luck because we did get shot in the head by a Chandler Bing and Bugsy Seagal hybrid. So we already know that we don't have the best of luck. The intelligence, I'm going to keep it at average just so we don't end up accidentally eating a box of rocks. Charisma, I'm going to keep average as well, just in case there's something that we can't fight our way out of. I can't really see that happening, but just to be on the safe side. And I will also put this last point here in perception. That's going to help us with things like lockpicking and explosives later on down the road. So there we go.
Now that don't make a lick of sense. Seems to me you're the luckiest son of a gun in New Vegas. Well, we know your vitals are good, but that don't mean them bullets didn't leave you nuttered and a bighorn dropping. What do you say you take a seat in my couch and we go through a couple of questions? See if your dogs are still barking.
Now, as I said, our specials can be changed through things like chems, armor, food, also through implants. And the way I just said that now, I do assure you more than our charisma will be improved with implants.
All right. I'm gonna say a word. I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Dog.
Train.
House.
Renovate.
Night.
Treasure.
Bandit.
Stab.
Light.
Well, these sound pretty good. Torch.
Mother.
Regret. A human shield. We're gonna go with caretaker.
Okay. Now I got a few statements. I want you to tell me how much they sound like something you'd say. First one. Conflict just ain't in my nature.
Strongly disagree.
I ain't given to relying on others for support.
We are going to agree. We're not going to be getting a whole lot of companions really available to us because we are supporting the Legion.
I'm always fixin' to be the center of attention.
Again, we're going to go with disagree because this story is not going to be for our own personal glory.
I'm slow to embrace new ideas.
We're going to go with disagree with that.
I charge in to deal with my problems head on.
So I'm not sure if many of you still remember the old Leroy Jenkins meme that was with World of Warcraft, but that's going to essentially be us. So we're going to go with strongly agree.
Almost done here. What do you say you have a look at this? Tell me what you see.
Now, me personally, I don't see what any of these options are in the ink blots. For instance, this looks a lot like Aang's forehead tattoo from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But for Ash's sake, we'll go with a broken chain.
Okay. How about this one?
Again, I really don't see anything here. To me, it actually looks like the movie poster for one of my favorite movies, Metropolis. I actually have it hanging here in my office, and looking up at it now, we'll go with the priceless work of art.
Last one.
So this is the infamous two bears high-fiving. Again, I see two wolves waltzing, but we'll just say a light in the darkness. Again, I don't see any of this.
Well, that's all she wrote. I don't have nothing to compare it to, so maybe you'd better just have a look at the results. See if it all seems right to you.
So what this was meant to do was to have us pick our tagged skills. And tag skills give us a 15-point boost. In the original games, the skills selected would actually level up faster throughout the course of the game, but that's not going to be the case here. It's just a quick little boost up. Now, of course, our first tag is going to be melee, and the second is going to be repair. And because we're going to be running headfirst into that action, it's going to tear apart our weapons and our armor wicked quick. For now, it may seem unusual, but for the next skill, I'm actually going to go with lockpick. And the reason for that, and not one of the other skills like explosives, unarmed, or even medicine, is because at this point in the game, we can collect a lot of stuff that we're going to need just by being able to pick locks and get into safes, which is good because our barter is god-awful right now, and things like things that we're going to need to repair, like different sets of armor or chems, they're not very affordable right now. But again, we can find everything with the lockpick skill. So also, with the lockpick skill, when we do successfully pick a lock, it does give us a little bit of XP. And with that XP, we can level up the other skills that we are going to need and are essential much faster. So here we go. Melee, repair, and lockpick.
Before I turn you loose, I need one more thing from you. I got a form for you to fill out so I can get a sense of your medical history. Just a formality. Ain't like I expect to find you got a family history of getting shot in the head.
So traits give us an extra advantage, but with that advantage, we do lose something. We have to sacrifice something else in return. So it's really up to you to determine if it's worth it to you or not. For me, even with a melee build, it's just not worth it. It's except for, of course, Wild Wasteland. And with Wild Wasteland, we do get some weird Easter eggs and a bunch of Monty Python references, which, of course, no one can say no to. So Wild Wasteland unleashes the most bizarre and silly elements of post-apocalyptic America, not for the faint of heart or the serious of temperament. That's us.
All right, I guess that about does it. Come with me, I'll see you out.
Oop. So, of course, the first rule of New Vegas is save, and save often.
Here, these are yours. Was all you had on you when you was brought in. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the note a look. I thought it might help me find a next of kin. But it was just something about a platinum chip. Well, if you're heading back out there, you ought to have this. They call it a Pip-Boy. I grew up in one of them vaults they made before the war. We all got one. Ain't much use to me now, but you might want such a thing after what you've been through. I know what it's like having something taken from you. And put this on too, so the locals don't pick on you for lacking modesty. was my wife's. I think she was about your size, and she hardly wore it after we left the vault. Felt it was too brazen.
Thanks for patching me up, Doc.
Don't mention it. It's what I'm here for. You should talk to Sunny Smiles before you leave town. She can help you learn to fend for yourself in the desert. She'll likely be at the saloon. I reckon some of the other folks at the saloon might be able to help you out too. And the metal fella, Victor, who pulled you out of your grave. Anyway, you ever get hurt out there, you come right back. I'll fix you up. But try not to get killed anymore.
Well, sadly, I cannot make any promises on that. Here we have the option to do hardcore mode. I do recommend that everyone do this one at least once. But for now, we are going to stick to average. Okay, so we are going to talk more to Doc Mitchell. Information, along with bottle caps and, of course, water, is the best currency in this game.
I expect you'll be wanting to go outside after being cooped up for so long, but if you have any questions, I'll answer what I can.
Tell me about yourself, Doc.
Well, I already told you I came from a vault. After that, I was a traveling doctor for a spell. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Most folks out here ain't educated, so people with medical know-how are hard to come by. I found that I could help a lot of people with what I knew, and that was all right with me. Eventually, I went back and married my childhood sweetheart, and that was the end of my traveling days. Didn't miss it none then. Still don't.
You said before you had something taken from you.
Well, ain't we all, right? That was a long time ago. I don't pay it much mind anymore.
Again, minor spoiler, we do find out eventually what was taken from Doc Mitchell. I will leave it at that. Don't I at least get a lollipop before leaving? Oh, most important, what town is this?
This here's Good Springs, named after the water we got here, just down the road to the southeast. Good Springs Source, they call it. It's a quiet town, and that's how we like it. We don't go looking for trouble, though occasionally it sees fit to come looking for us.
Who was it that rescued me?
That'd be Victor. Curious fella. He's sort of odd, and I don't just mean 'cause he's a robot. I couldn't tell you much about him. He's real friendly, don't get me wrong. You just get the sense that that ain't the whole picture. Just a feeling. He keeps to himself, mostly. You want to know more about him, you'll have to ask him yourself. He has a shack on the southern edge of town.
All right, that's fair. Do you know anything about the man who shot... anything about the man that shot me?
I didn't see him or the men with him. You might ask around town, though. Could be someone saw which way they was headed. Your best bet would probably be Trudy, the bartender at the saloon up the road. If anyone saw anything, she'd know about it.
That's very true. Bartenders of small towns tend to know more than a priest at a confessional. All right, that's all we need from him. Goodbye.
You take care now.
So we're going to read one of the most, if not the most, important document of the game that Doc Mitchell did give us. And that is going to be the Mojave Express delivery order. So, of course, because we're a courier. Instructions. Deliver the package at the north entrance to the Freeside Strip by way of Freeside. An agent of the recipient will meet you at the checkpoint, take possession of the package, and pay for the delivery. Bring the payment to Johnson Nash at the Mojave Express Agency in Prim. Bonus upon completion, 250 caps. Manifest. This package contains 1 oversized poker chip composed of platinum. And this is where things are going to get a little bit darker. Contract penalties. You are an authorized agent of the Mojave Express package until the delivery is complete and payment has been processed. Contractually obligated to complete this transaction and materially responsible for any malfeasance or loss. Failure to deliver to the proper recipient may result in forfeiture of your advance and bonus, criminal charges, and or pursuit of mercenary reclamation teams. the Mojave Express is not responsible for any injury or loss of life you experience as a result of said reclamation efforts. Okay, so this is a pretty big deal. Right here, it lets us know that despite getting a 9mm bullet straight into our brain, it's our fault legally, and as far as our boss is concerned, our responsibility to keep that chip safe and keep it from getting stolen. Or else, like a mob boss, we're going to be getting our legs broken. And that's if we're lucky. If we aren't, we'll probably end up in a barrel at the bottom of Lake Mead. So our main priority is to head to Prim and talk to Johnson Nash and let him know what happened. But before we do that, we are going to have a good look around the doctor's house for things that we can use. Now, we're not going to end up robbing him or looting the place, but he has a lot of items that are marked as him being A-okay with us taking. I have noticed that when people do a Legion run, and this is not a hit towards anyone by any means, they tend to play as a baby-eating, puppy-kicking savage. And in the beginning, we are going to be stealing everything that is not bolted down, and things that are bolted down, we are going to try to lift, except, of course, when it comes to Doc Mitchell here. But we're not going to be playing like that. Now, we're not going to exactly be the paragon of sunshine and rainbows, more than likely, but again, we're also not going to be the opposite either. And one of the good parts about not being a gunslinger this time around is bullets, guns, we can sell them. Again, our barter is total crap, but with enough of them, we can get a decent sized chunk of caps in our pocket, which is pretty useful for now. Again, Doc Mitchell did give us top-notch free healthcare, also free of taxes as well, so he's pretty cool in our book. And he is letting us take quite a bit of stuff. So yeah, because our barter's so low, we're not going to be living like hogs anytime soon, but we should be decently comfortable, at least for a bit. Now, for those of you who played Old World Blues, know the reason why that this toaster is very important, and also one of my favorites. And we are not taking any Nuka-Cola. It's disgusting. It's irradiated. Ugh. In this house, we are firm supporters of Sunset Sarsaparilla supremacy. That's non-debatable. I don't want to hear anything about it. Yuck. The only thing that we will possibly be taking from Nuka-Cola is the quartz bottles, and that's simply because it gives us night vision. We don't need that. I do have to appreciate how he has packs of smokes as well as a carton. I'm guessing that he skipped lung day at doctor's school. Okay, so let's get out of here. Now, I do have to be the bearer of bad news as well, that I will be keeping the fabulous Mr. New Vegas radio turned down. And that's because I have heard from several different sources that a lot of videos with his station playing in the background, they've been getting copyright strikes. I did look around, and apparently there was a mod that replaced the music with copyright-free tracks, but some of those songs have been bought since its creation, and now even the mod creators are saying, don't bother with it. Now I'm going to go with lightweight armor because we don't have anything to repair any of the cool armors just yet. That's not till we get the jury rig. Here's going to just be the pop-ups for our DLCs. Every time one of these pop up, our level cap goes up. I don't know if I'm going to be playing the DLCs in this walkthrough yet. I'll kind of leave that up to y'all. But just for now, we'll be doing the base game. Okay, and here we have Victor. The doctor did say that we should give him a little chit-chat.
Howdy, partner. Might I say you're looking fit as a fiddle?
Thanks for digging me out of that grave.
Don't mention it. I'm always ready to lend a helping hand to a stranger in need.
How did you happen to find me?
I was out for a stroll that night when I heard the commotion up the old bone orchard. Saw what looked like a bunch of bad eggs, so I laid low. Once they'd run off, I dug you up to see if you were still kicking. Turns out you were, so I hauled you off to the dock right quick.
I like that term, bone orchard. Do you know who those men were who attacked me?
Can't say that I'm familiar with the rascals. Some of the fine folks in town might be able to help you out with that.
How did you end up in Good Springs?
I moseyed into town, 10, 15 years ago. Before that, I can't quite seem to recall. Odd. Anyway, it's a right peaceful town, and I reckon it's as fine a place to settle as any.
I've never seen a robot like you before.
I'm a Securitron. Robco Security Model 2060B. If you ever see any of my brothers, tell them Victor says howdy.
Hey, I can do that. Well, thanks, Victor. Goodbye.
Happy trails!
Okay. And here we have the Good Springs General Store as well as the Prospector Saloon. Now, in real life, it is the Pioneer Saloon, and I do recommend everyone go there at least once. It's a great restaurant. They totally own the fact that they get so many people because of New Vegas, but even if they didn't, still a great place to go. And of course, before we are anything, Ash is a courier, and what we have here is a Mojave Express drop box. So, Mojave Express, I can't talk. Mojave Express drop boxes, like this one, can be used to deliver items to any Mojave Express drop box that you've discovered. Once you find a Mojave Express drop box, just activate it and you will be able to use that location to send and receive items. So this will be helpful so we don't get over encumbered. We don't really have a player base just as of yet, so this is going to be pretty nifty. So before we go anywhere, we are going to stop into the general store. First thing that I'm going to need is a shovel, so we can do one of my favorite pastimes, which is grave robbing.
Howdy. You must be the one Doc Mitchell was patching up. The way I heard it, I didn't think you'd be walking out of that office. I've got plenty of supplies for sale. Even got some weapon mods and special ammo. Well worth the caps if you ask me. If you're hurting for caps, I've also got boxes of surplus ammo in the miscellaneous section. They're not great, but you get what you pay for.
So I am going to try to keep shopping for the most part off camera. I know that can get tedious very quick to watch, so just a heads up. Well, we're not using guns, so we don't have to worry about the ammo. So, do you know anything about the people who attacked me?
The leader was a New Vegas type. Typical city boy. He had a bunch of Great Khans with him, probably hired guns. The Great Khans normally stay in their own territory way up northwest, on account of them being enemies with the NCR.
Have you ever been to New Vegas?
Twice. Both times I drank a lot of liquor and lost most of my caps at the card tables. In that order, now that I think about it. If you ever get to New Vegas, be sure to visit Gomorrah. It's the best casino in the city. You won't regret it. Word of advice, behave. Between the NCR military police and Mr. House's robots, you don't want to be causing trouble on the strip.
Hey, that's how the town makes their money. If they have a bad reputation or an unsafe reputation, people aren't going to be spending their caps there. I'd like to know more about Mr. House.
I'm afraid I don't know much myself. Mr. House has got his own casino, Lucky 38, but nobody goes in or out except his robots. The other casinos follow Mr. House's rules, so I guess that makes him the leader of New Vegas. As far as I know, nobody's ever laid eyes on the guy. I think that robot who pulled you out of the dirt belongs to Mr. House. If Mr. House is looking after you, it's got to be a good thing, right?
Well, we don't know, but we can certainly look at it in a positive way for now. Anything else you can tell me about the Great Khans?
They're tough sons of bitches. Mean, but not crazy. They'll leave you alone unless you got something they want. The Great Khans deal in illegal chems. There's a good chance that most chems you come across were made by Great Khans.
All right, so that's all we can get out of him for now.
Can do.
In the meantime, I want my shovel. And I'm just going to sell off some of this for now. We're really not going to get that much, but we'll take what we can get. Also, it does relieve us of just the weight of all of our stuff for now. So yeah, you can see how expensive things are just right now, just for basic items. And again, this is why I decided to take the lockpick for a tag, just to give us that little boost, because we can end up finding quite a bit of this stuff free of charge. Well, really just for the price of a lockpick. Okay, I am going to take the scrap electronics and scrap metal because we might run across someone who's going to need it. And it looks like Chet might not have a shovel. Oh, here it is, my fault. Okay, here we go. And he now owes us 481 caps. I will take it.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Goodbye.
Take it easy now.
And again, I do recommend saving as much as you can in this game. So we'll go talk to Sonny, but let's talk to Easy Pete first and get that tumbleweed off of him.
Howdy. What can Easy Pete do for you?
Do you know anything about the people who attacked me?
The one in the fancy suit seemed to be calling the shots. That's as much as I know. Other folks in town might know more. Word of advice, though, if you ever catch up with him, watch out. The man's got cold eyes like a snake. Can't be trusted, I'd say.
Well, he did shoot me in the head, so I don't think I'll be trusting him anytime soon. Why are you called Easy Pete?
Was a prospector until I decided to settle here to get away from the NCR. Now we'll just take it easy and help out with the Brahmin and Bighorners.
You were a prospector, like digging for gold and silver?
Nah. Means I poke through old buildings looking for working tech and such. Some folks just call it salvaging, but never liked the term. Way I see it, salvage means it's broken, near worthless. Me, I look for the good stuff. Guns, chems, spare parts. Good money in it.
Did you ever find anything good while prospecting?
Nope. Had a pretty good claim once, way out east by the river, but got run off by raiders. Eventually got too old to keep going out.
Getting run off by bandits and raiders is a pretty common story in the Mojave, sad as it is. What's wrong with the NCR?
Don't get me wrong. The NCR's got a lot of decent folk in it. It's just that they make you part of them whether you like it or not. Towns like Good Springs and Prim don't stay independent for long. Not if you've got something the NCR wants. Still, the NCR keeps the Legion away.
Yeah, sure, to a point. Tell me about the Legion.
They're slavers, led by a guy named Caesar, or Caesar. Not sure how you're supposed to say it. A couple of years ago, they tried to take over Hoover Dam, but the NCR beat them back. The NCR didn't or couldn't finish the job, though. The Legion's got its strength back and is getting ready for another round at the dam. My money's still on the NCR winning, but you never know. We've been hearing stories about legionaries on the Nevada side of the river, so keep a gun handy. You don't want to get caught by them.
So, quickly to bring this up, well, number one, the person who the Legion saddled with the responsibility of losing the Hoover Dam, he was fired. Two, again, something wicked neat is just an awesome little detail of this game. You can often tell where someone's loyalties lie in the Mojave just by the way they pronounce Caesar or Kaiser. The members of the Legion use like the classical Latin pronunciation, where Caesar becomes Kaiser, like the leader of the Holy Roman Empire, or World War I Germany. It's also where we get words like Czar from, and words like Ave become Awe, Centurion becomes Kenturion, and characters that we'll meet like Vulpus and Lanius will become Vulpus and Linnaeus. It's just cool to see that the Legion adopts the old Roman style of speech, treating their C's as K's and V's as W's. And as Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade taught us, there is no J in the ancient Latin alphabet. For the sake of roleplay, when Ash does choose which side she's going to be on, I will be saying Kaiser. But keep in mind, I am very American, and I'm sure I'm going to be saying Caesar most of the time. It's just a cool little touch. So, what's so important about the Hoover Dam?
The dam powers a lot of New Vegas, and then there's all that clean water lying in Lake Mead, too. Anybody who owns the dam owns the territory.
What do you use the bighorners for?
Meat and hide, mostly. Can't put a pack on them. You just lay down until you take it off. Can find a bunch of wild ones high up in the hills, but gotta be careful around them. They can put up a decent fight if cornered.
I can appreciate that. An animal that doesn't start the fight, but they'll sure as heck finish it. Do you know anything about Victor?
The machine? Harmless, no matter what Trudy says. She thinks it's hiding something, but I think it's just a broken down relic with no place to be.
Well, thanks, Easy Pete. Goodbye.
Keep your gun handy if you go poking around some of the abandoned places around here, like the schoolhouse. Critters move in there sometimes.
Bring a gun into the schoolhouse. Glad to see America hasn't changed too much when it comes to that. Okay, let's go talk to Sunny.
Cheyenne, stay. Don't worry, she won't bite unless I tell her to.
Doc Mitchell said you could teach me to survive in the desert.
Yeah, I guess there's a thing or two I could show you. Sounds like you need all the help you can get after what they done to you. Meet me outside, behind the saloon.
Now, Sunny's just going to give us a brief little rundown how things in the Mojave work, and it is free XP essentially, so yeah, we'll do it. Ooh, we have a Dean Domino poster here. I wonder if that'll affect us later. Who knows? Sadly, we cannot pet this good girl.
Now, see the sarsaparilla bottles on the fence there? Take this and try to hit a couple of them.
Okay, and you'll see because our gun skill is so low, look how shaky it is. Now, of course, if it was higher up, it'd be much more steady. Nope.
That's the right idea. Look down the side. Try crouching down and staying still. It'll help your aim. Nice shot. Well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles. Tell you what, I gotta go chase geckos away from our water supply anyway. Darn critters are attracted to it. Why don't you come along?
Okay, I'm in.
Follow me. It's just down to the southeast a short ways.
Huh, who knew animals liked water? Now, while I do have a couple of mods that, of course, just kind of polish up the game, I do want to mention that the Veni Vidi Vici plugin is available for free. It's a free plugin, and it I have to say, especially for a game that's over 10 years old at this point, it still looks great. I mean, I can practically taste the dust of the Mojave in my mouth right now, just walking through it. Okay, and we can see over there the geckos that Sunny was talking about. Now, of course, we're not going to be using the gun because we have something even better. The broad machete. Now, one of the great things is that we won't have to use VATs too much because with the machete, you really don't have to be that accurate. However, we will be using the VAT system to avoid hitting certain things. And the sooner we get the animal friend perk, the better, because I don't like killing defenseless geckos.
See? You're getting the hang of it. There's 2 more wells that still need clearing. You want, you can come along. It'd be worth a few caps to me.
Sure, I'll come with you.
Shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, especially with 2 of us. Come with me.
Hey, caps and experience, sign me up. That's right, Cheyenne. Good girl. Her poor little limbs. Oh my gosh. Now, we are going to make use of VATs because there is not the smartest tool or sharpest tool in the shed over here, but we still don't want to hit her. Oh, he exploded. Okay, that should be it. Next time, come with something better than just a knife, lady.
Holy moly. If you hadn't come here like you done, I'd be a goner for sure. I came up here to draw water, but here, you should have what I got. You look thirsty.
So this is going to be our first look into the reputation system. It's pretty straightforward. How we treat certain groups affects how they treat us and how their friends or enemies react to us in turn. In the past Fallout games, karma was a big deal, but here in New Vegas, it's all about the reputation. All right, let's go find Sunny. And there she is.
Now that was some good work. Even got a little exciting there at the end. Here's a little spending money for the trouble. One more thing I wanted to show you. Thought I might teach you about living off the land and making useful things for yourself. Interested?
Absolutely. Couldn't hurt.
All right then. We'll need a couple ingredients to get started. Gonna want some xander root and a brock flower. Let me think now. I know I've seen brock flowers growing up at the graveyard, and I seem to remember there being xander root over by the schoolhouse. Bring those on back to me, and we'll get cooking.
All right, so we are going to be off to do that. Oh, and here we are about to see our first Wild Wasteland Easter egg. So, random fridge in the desert. It is a little nod to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where Indy survives a nuclear blast by hiding in, you guessed it, a refrigerator. Naturally, we are going to be taking his hat because who isn't going to take Indiana Jones's hat? Another cool thing that a lot of people don't know about this is it currently represents the state of the Indiana Jones franchise now. So let's get going. That would have been pretty neat if they had his whip, but we'll take what we can get. So right up here we can see by the water tower there is the graveyard, but closer to us is actually the schoolhouse. So we'll head right on over there first for the Xander route. Oh, and here we have a tamed bighorner. So something kind of cool is because there is no more federal government, there is no way we can catch a felony, so we can go through these people's mailboxes without a problem. Patriots Cookbook Explosion. I can't help but feel that's a little nod to the Unabomber with the explosions in the mailbox, but who knows. And we're just going to take care of these guys. Now, I don't know that if because there's bigger grasshoppers or mantises that now there's those giant horsehair worms that like to hide inside them. But for my own sanity, we're going to say no. So we got our Xander route, but while we're here, we might as well go into the schoolhouse. Because we're not using a gun, we don't have to worry about sneaking. So we can turn on our flashlight. Go. Okay. Ew. A little egg sac there. Gross. And let's just see if there's anything useful. We got a Programmer's Digest, which is going to be handy because that does enhance our science skills by 10. Salesman Weekly. That's going to be great for barter. The only thing missing from that box was a paper bag. And ew, Nuka-Cola. We're not taking any of that. All right, nothing over here. Sweet, some bottle caps. This is not Old World Blue, so we don't need the coffee mugs just yet. And here we'll find some bobby pins, which does make sense because in the 40s and 50s, bobby pins were pretty big with hairstyles that were needed. Okay, here we have the hacking minigame. I hate the hacking minigame. I know how to play it, but I'm still not going to do it. You'll see me poke at a few words, back out, reset, rinse, repeat. I just don't like it, so we'll go with the lockpicking instead. Now, with the lockpicking, it's pretty simple. If you've ever played Skyrim, you know the drill. But the big difference here is that you actually have to have the required skill to even attempt certain locks. Unlike Skyrim, where you could try to pop a master lock at level 1 and just get some XP early. All right, let's see what's in it. Easy enough. And this is why I took the lockpicking skill, because here we have some bottle caps, some Mentats, which is essentially the Adderall of the Fallout world, a Stealth Boy, which is excellent, some delicious Sunset Sarsaparilla, Super Stim Pack, and the rest is trash, especially that. So yeah, there's a little treasure trove, and it would cost us way more than what we just had with a bobby pin at Chet's. Okay, so let's head to the graveyard. But of course, we are going to save. Now, before we leave, we do have one of my favorites over here. Some jalapenos. I'm glad to know that they survived and were possibly made even spicier by the nuclear blast. I'm gonna go put away my machete, so we just walk a little bit faster and we don't have to walk a mile in Michael Myers shoes where we just kind of casually stroll everywhere. Check out these mailboxes. Tales of Chivalry, plus 10 to melee. We are going to be needing that. We are not going to need any of this. But I think Doc Mitchell has a smoking problem. I think that's going to be pretty safe to say. And over there you can see the Ngazi Memorial. It always reminds me of the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil, I believe it is. But it's just chilling out over there now. I didn't notice it actually for my first couple playthroughs of New Vegas. So when I saw it again, I thought it was a mod or something, but no. Oop. We got a naughty little fella here. Nope. Oh, we don't need this just yet. All right. And then we can see some buzzards. I wonder if anyone else got shot in the head up here. So these guys are absolutely disgusting, and I especially hate them in Fallout 4 because you get that close-up of them shooting maggots at you, which is absolutely nasty. Here, I will be thankful for the technical limitations. Ugh. Yeah, absolutely gross. Ew, gross. Okay. So, over here, we can see our grave. And here we have our Brock flower. So, if we take a peek over here, we can actually see the strip. That tall building over there is the Lucky 38. And this would be the path if we were rugged, chest hair growing badasses. But let's be honest, that's not going to happen. I have yet to go through menopause, so I can't even grow a mustache yet. And over there, those giant scorpions are the nice creatures along this route. So we're just going to pull a little sneaky sneak and pretend we didn't see them. And over here, we'll find our first little collectible snow globe. So this rare pre-war artifacts are widely considered to be useless baubles, but rumor has it some collectors will pay dearly for them. So I actually do collect snow globes in real life as well, but I do live in a pretty earthquake-prone zone, and I have to store them away, or else that is just heartbreak and a mess. Now, because we got the shovel, we can do some grave robbing. So yeah, it looks like some more people were shot up here. We'll just see what else we can take while we're here. So we have some prickly pear fruits, which is actually delicious in real life as well. Some barrel cactus fruit and some coyote tobacco chew. Now, I'm not in any way affiliated with this person, but I do know that there is someone who does sell like little treats from the actual Mojave, and one of those is prickly pear lollipops, teas, things like that, and they are delicious. Again, not sponsored or anything from them, but if you ever see them on Etsy, I definitely recommend that you order them because they are delicious. If I ever manage to find their store, I'll add the link. It's really good little confections. And I believe they make other Fallout themed items as well. So with that being said, let's head back to Sunny at the Well. Also, we can take a look at the sky and see that just ever so slightly, the sun looks like it is beginning to set. For roleplay purposes, I am going to try and travel during the day and get some sleep at night. Desert nights are notoriously cold, especially when you've been baking in the sun all day and you're covered in sweat. Current state of a lot of roads nowadays, too. Just, ugh. Now, unfortunately, sprinting was not yet a thing, which I will say Fallout 4 has over this game. But being this game is where it's from, we'll take the win where we can. Man, it's just such a feeling of isolation doing this. Okay, Sonny, where'd you go? Guess we'll just follow the trail of corpses. Poor geckos.
Let me see what you got. Yeah, these'll do just fine. Just fine. All right, now. We're gonna be making something folks on the trail call healing powder. Go on over to that campfire now. Give it a try.
Okay, so this is our crafting. Pretty straightforward. If you have certain ingredients, you can make certain items. Now, here we have healing powder. It does take away 1 for perception, but it will give us a nice little boost in HP when we do need it. So, yes, we are definitely going to make it.
That's not bad, see? All it takes to make a recipe is the right ingredients and the right know-how. Sometimes it won't be a campfire you need. Might need to do some work on your guns and ammo, maybe. Important thing to get is it's all the same idea. You just need to find the right place to set up shop. Workbench or reloading bench, whatever. Well, I hope that's enough to get you started. I'm heading back now. Hope I didn't miss anything good on the jukebox. Cheyenne would never forgive me. Hey, do me a favor. Trudy, she's the bartender up at the Prospector. Kind of the town mom. She likes to meet newcomers. She'd be cross with me if I didn't ask you to poke your head in and say hi.
So that's yet another time we are kind of pushed into getting us to go to say hi to Trudy. So we'll definitely go do that now. Plus, any excuse to visit the Prospector Saloon is definitely a good excuse. So I have been to the real Pioneer Saloon. As I said earlier, they totally own the whole New Vegas thing. A lot of people will come there and essentially make a pilgrimage. There's actually a little Polaroid of me in one of their guest books that they have holding up my own platinum chip that I have. But yeah, you can sign your name, leave a picture like some other people did. But you actually would not be able to tell that it's me because my hair at that point was super short. I had just donated it at that point. And it's just a great time. I actually asked one of the waitresses there if they ever kind of get annoyed with all the people coming in just for New Vegas. And she was very adamant that she loves when people come, that the people who are fans of New Vegas are usually the most polite. And I believe in October, they actually have like a little get together there every year. I have not been to that, but she did mention at the very first time that she saw a cosplayer come in, that it was very, very strange to her and that she thought she was going to get robbed. So let's go on in to the Prospector Saloon. But someone did indeed have to explain to her what New Vegas was. And they actually have a little 360 there with the game.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
We'll keep that in mind. Now, if you're not going to buy something, get out.
Oh boy. What?
What do you want?
What was that you said about Ringo?
He's some traitor who decided he'd rather shoot than pay the toll for being in our territory. He's hiding somewhere in town. Would serve these idiots right if me and my guys shot the place up after we got payback on Ringo.
Well, this area is your territory?
It is now. Me and the rest of the guys busted out of the NCR prison east of here and took over. Now we're calling the shots.
So, the NCR had these guys in a jail, and they still got out. Okay, What were you in prison for?
None of your damn business. You ought to know better than to ask a man that kind of question.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, forget about it.
This guy's a class act. Okay, well, what's been going on in the rest of the wasteland?
Same old shit that's been going on for years. The NCR and Legion are still fighting over Hoover Dam for some reason.
Do you know anything about Hoover Dam?
Never been there since the NCR's got troops all over it. Must be pretty important.
Well, it's pretty damn important. Sorry. What do you know about the Legion?
I've run with some tough gangs, but I gotta admit, they all got nothing on the Legion. I hear they stick you up on poles and it takes a while to die. I ain't saying I'm afraid of them or nothing, but I'll be staying out of their way.
So, real quick, how he describes the Legion, it reminds me more of, not crucifixion, but a little more of Vlad the Impaler. So, real quick, answer down below. How would you rather die, crucifixion or being impaled Vlad the Impaler style? Let me know in the comments down below. You know, just something fun and wholesome. Tell me about the NCR.
New California Republic. Nothing new about it. Just a bunch of people with money and power pushing everyone else around. They've got troops all over the Mojave, but it's a big desert, so it's pretty easy to avoid them if you want.
So we are not going to help him take over this town. He's a jerk, and I don't like him. So, bye.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to talk to the person that quite a few people have been pushing us towards, and that is Ms. Trudy over here. When she gets in her spot, I think we're going to ask her about a few things.
Well, you've been causing quite a stir. Glad I finally got to meet you. Welcome to the Prospector Saloon.
Ooh, leveled up. Great. So, I overheard your argument. What was that all about?
Looks like our little town got itself dragged in the middle of something we don't want anything to do with. About a week ago, this traitor, Ringo, comes into town. Survivor of an attack, he says. Bad men after him. Needs a place to hide. We figured he was just in shock, so we gave him a place to lie low. We didn't actually expect anyone to come after him.
Where's Ringo now?
He's holed up at the abandoned gas station up the hill.
What are you gonna do?
Some of the others, like Sonny, will probably stand up for Ringo if he asks for help, which he hasn't. Personally, I hope he sneaks out of town one night and takes the powder gangers with him.
Powder gangers?
Chain gangs, really. The NCR brought them in from California to work on the rail lines. Problem is, it turns out that giving convicts a bunch of dynamite and blasting powder isn't the best idea. Was a big escape not too long ago. Some of them stuck together so they could make trouble. That's what we're dealing with now.
Oh, well, they wanted some cheap labor, and that's what they got in return. So, why not just kill Cobb and be done with it?
You mean murder him? That's not our way, even if Cobb is scum. He can bluster and threaten all he wants.
All right. So, I mean, it would take care of the problem, but never mind. I want to talk about something else.
All right.
So, what happens if I help Ringo?
If you were able to get Ringo out of this mess, you'd have a decent reputation around Good Springs. I'd even set you up with a discount. Of course, helping Ringo would also make the powder gangers mad, and they've got a lot of friends out there.
So, what she's really going into is reputation. So, we'll just do this. So, I help Ringo, and Good Springs will like me. What if I help the powder gangers?
Don't know why you'd want to do a thing like that. Yep, you'd get on their good side, but people around here wouldn't appreciate it one bit.
True, and these people have been nothing but good to me. So, who exactly was that man you were arguing with? We know he's Joe Cobb, but we'll see.
He's a convict, just without the chains. Said his name was Cobb. Powder gangers is what they call themselves. Plenty more like him out there.
Again, common story in the Mojave. So here we have more of our main mission is I'm trying to track down the people who attacked me. Know anything about them?
Not much, other than they're a bunch of freeloaders who expected a few rounds on the house. I was able to get them to pay up, though. Of course, one of the great cons did knock my radio to the floor by accident, and it hasn't been working since.
Did my attackers say where they were going?
They were having some kind of argument about it, but the guy in the checkered coat kept shushing them. Sounded like they came in from the north through Quarry Junction. If that's the case, I can't say I blame them for not wanting to go back.
Why is that?
That whole area is overrun with the kind of critters that just get mad if you shoot them. Merchants avoid that whole stretch of I-15 like it's radioactive, which it could be for all I know.
So where were they headed?
I didn't hear exactly, but the leader was talking about the strip. Fellow wants to get there and avoid the 15, he'd have to go east. Take Highway 93 up.
Okay, so that's good to know. For that information, you want me to take a look at your broken radio?
Sure, the outside looks okay, but I think something broke on the inside. There'd be caps in it for you. I do like to hear what's going on in the world. And that Mr. New Vegas seems like such a gentleman.
Oh, just rub it in even more, Trudy. So, we do know that Trudy does not like Victor. Let's try to figure out why. Do you know the robot that rescued me?
I know that thing as much as anyone else around here. It mostly keeps to itself, which is just fine by me.
So we know she'd get along great with Will Smith's character in iRobot. So what does he actually do around here?
Other than rolling around once in a while, it doesn't do anything useful as far as I can tell. I don't know why it took an interest in you, but I'd be careful. It's never helped anyone before.
You don't like him?
It acts friendly enough, but I don't trust that whole cheerful cowboy act. I find it all very creepy.
Understandable, Trudy. How long has he been in Good Springs?
It was here when I took over the saloon 7 years ago. Some people have said its owner lived here, but no one knows who it was.
Never mind. Let's talk about something else.
Fine by me.
So, does Good Springs get many visitors?
Mostly traders looking to buy bighorn or meat and hides. The traders are the main reason the general store manages to stay in business. Most travelers heading south on the I-15 just push on towards Prim, unless they're in desperate need of supplies.
Okay, so of course we want to get good information about what's going on with the rest of the wasteland. Anything interesting going on?
There's always something interesting going on. But the biggest news has to be the coming dust-up between the NCR and the Legion over the dam.
So tell me about the NCR.
The new California Republic's got the most power in Nevada. Money, troops, you name it. They do what they can to keep things safe in the region. But if you ask me, they're trying to do too much. They're spread too thin.
So they're spread too thin. That's definitely something we're going to make a mental post-it of and pin it right in our brain. So what can you tell me about the Legion?
Slavers, killers, and all other kinds of trouble. They dress up like Roman soldiers, so there's no mistaking it when you see them. The rumor is that the Legion is far larger than the NCR lets on, and that it's been due to luck that the Legion hasn't overrun the territory.
Why do you think the NCR and the Legion both want the dam?
I'm pretty sure the NCR wants to hold on to the dam because it's one of the few places around that can make electricity. The Legion are a bunch of savages, though. No idea why they'd want the dam. Probably plan on destroying it or something.
So, let me tell you why I think Trudy's got it wrong about the Legion and the Hoover Dam. So, in real life, the Hoover Dam powers parts of Arizona, and where's the Legion's main territory? Mostly in Arizona, and actually their capital is in Flagstaff. So, it actually makes sense for them to want the dam. It's a literal power play. The dam also powers Nevada and California too, so if they took it, there's literally no downside. Now, they are a more primitive society, but we don't get to see, we don't get to see exactly what the Legion Society is like outside of their army, which I'm sure is very different than their actual social society. Also, since we are in Good Springs near the Vegas region, keep in mind that the Legion also has a foothold in parts of Utah, or at the very least a strong presence, which Utah is only a few hours away from Nevada. So, keep in mind that them being in the Mojave isn't as far-fetched as Trudy might think it is. They're not too far from their main resources or even their main supplies, making their move to this area actually pretty strategic. And with what they do need, they could just use the Colorado River to get back and forth. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Goodbye.
Be careful out there.
All right, so let's do a level up. So I'm going to make our melee a good 40, keep our repair at 30. Now, we are going to need our skills up a little bit just with this upcoming mission. So I'm going to just bump up our barter to 15. Our medicine can stay at 15 as well. And we're also going to bump up our speech to 15 as well, because we are going to end up needing them at least 25. So that can easily be fixed with the magazine. So let's see what else we can bump up. I will bump up the medicine. That does need to be put up. Okay, so we're going to continue. And here we actually get to pick our perks. So with perks, it's not like traits. You do just get something. Now, here we have Black Widow, which gives us an additional 10% against male opponents, and also gives us unique dialogue as well when it comes to certain missions. I can never pronounce this word right, so it's the same thing except against instead of male, we do more damage against females. We have Intense Training, which we can up our special attributes. We have Retention, which makes the skill magazines last longer. Or we have Swift Learner, which is actually really good because you do gain an additional 10% to total experience points whenever experience points are earned. However, because our courier is not very charismatic, I will go with the Black Widow perk to get to unlock certain dialogues and quests. And hey, doing an extra 10% damage, that's pretty sweet. So we're going to go with the Black Widow perk for now. And it also feels like this is a good spot to, hit pause for here. So we're going to save. Number 1 rule of New Vegas. So far, we've cheated death after a bullet to the brain. And this was, again, after we got dug up by a robot. We scored some free healthcare from Doc Mitchell and learned not how to die in the Mojave thanks to Sunny. We also got some good information about the heavy hitters fighting for Hoover Dam. And let's not forget, the small time guys making trouble essentially just to watch the world burn. And, on top of that, let's also throw into some hallucinations that'll probably haunt us until we go into the grave a second time. So before we go, don't forget to check out my description box down below. I'll drop my X account there if you want to say hi or just kind of keep up with the general chaos. And I'm also going to put my mod list. I try to stream Monday through Friday, so swing by anytime. It is wicked fun getting to talk to new people who really do love the game. And if you are enjoying this so far, a like, sub, or comment would definitely help keep things rolling, because believe me when I say we have a very interesting ride ahead of us. So later days, everyone.